Okay, welcome back everybody to another champion discussion video. Today we're gonna be going over a champion concept that this gentleman I believe sent me a comment on one of my videos a while ago, and when I was making videos I didn't forget about it. It was just kind of in the back of my head. And since I'm doing sort of a different a take on these champion concept videos, I wanted to do his kind of as my first example, and I felt it was a pretty good concept to do this with. So, how this is going to work now is in my other videos, I just kind of talked about it and gave my opinion, but now I'm going to give it sort of a ranking system. And you can see here above me, I have 4 different ranking systems that I will be using, and these 4 will tally into a final design score. And this is just my opinion. I'm going to be, not, negative, but I will give my personal opinion on these in more of a productive, creative way. I don't want to offend anybody with any of these concepts. So with any of these, discussion concepts. So please just keep that in mind. So, how we are going to break this down is you have kit uniqueness, backstory, pro play viability, and just general fun. So kit uniqueness, how unique is this kit compared to every other kit in the game? Is it a carbon copy of something else? Is it like 1 or 2 abilities combined? Is it something that you've completely made up on your own? That's kind of what I mean by kit uniqueness. Backstory, this could be lore. This could be, giving me, some details of what the champion looks like. That's kind of what I mean. Just how good is the backstory of this champion? You have pro viability, which is I think a big thing. Playing in competitive, playing, in pro play and in high elo. How well would this champion actually be, playmaking wise? Would it be permaban, that sort of thing? And then you have just general fun. Is this champion fun to play? Is it fun to play against? Generally, if it's fun to play, it's not fun to play against. So just how fun would this champion actually be to play? And that kind of rounds up to a total design score. Now, these are going to be out of 10, so 1 through 10 is how the ranking system works. So we have Fallen Demons champion here, who I believe won a concept of the month last month, or in May. This is actually 4 different champions in one. Now, I believe from what I've kind of read already, you only play as 2 of these, which is Yuri's and Ava are the 2 that you play as. These 2 are more for lore background stuff. So, it's a support. It's a disruptor, zoner, macro play type of support. And this is kind of what I read here already. It's just talking about how these are the 2 main champions that you get to play as, and these 2 are more just for lore purposes. Kind of read through this. This is the short version of this, from what he said. When winter befalls a region, stepping into a wilderness can become a deadly affair. Thankfully, a mischievous set of entities may be there to help traverse the world during this time. Sometimes a subtle hints, and sometimes directly interacting with the trackers. These 4 young spirits are slowly becoming part of Runeterran mythos. Okay. Their story only truly known by a few, starts a few centuries ago with a young Polvoltian, yeah, something like that. Principal intelligible for the Coppersworth family, named Yuri's. Youngest of the family, he took pride in his job as their intelligencer and understands the importance of influence and information. As fate would have it, he was sent to Mount Targon to check some business on a Rekar tribe where the family hired mercenaries and bodyguards a long time ago. Generally, when you get to go to Mount Targon, something bad generally happens. So, you just look at Tarek's lore. I guess you consider that bad. Some people would. The ascension of the peak became uneventfully, but soon the path became perilous. Winter had arrived early to the region, and snow and slippery rocks formed true death traps. At one point, Yuri employed his grappling hook to circumvent the obstructed path. The rock he hooked to, however, wasn't stable, and Yuri fell dozens of meters into the rocky terrain as a small avalanche crushed him like a deathly white blanket. Okay, so he died. And then he woke up. He felt no pain, nor cold, and could barely see through a strange white fog that seemed to twist around him like a sandstorm. Without a clue of what he could have survived, he resumed his journey. He walked and walked and kept walking, dizzy and disoriented and tired. He mechanically put one foot in front of the other, but not sure how or why. He forgot what brought him there. Eventually, he laid in a smooth, plain ground and looked up at the sky. All right, this is strange. Okay, stars, countless, distant, cold, yet blazing with something. Yuri's couldn't understand what felt at the moment. A wave of energy washed over him, making him stand up. His head feeling light, but pleasant and clear. He suddenly remembered his mission. Trying to break from his confusion, he began the rapid descent, very rapid in fact. Before he even realized he was at the base of the mountain, Yuri's tried to orient himself by walking straight north, or at least what he hoped was north. While he couldn't find any form of transportation, his strange newfound ability allowed him to skip great strides for the... Okay, so he just randomly developed an ability to, like, run really fast, or just, like, travel really fast, I guess. Well, it seems like he was touched by, like the celestial stuff. But that's not really explained too well. While making his way through a forest, he heard a soft whimpery rush to the source as he could see it. As a young girl covered in frost and twigs, he searched for the nearest cover, lit a bonfire with his emergency tools, and covered her with a coat. Surprised to find himself still impervious to the cold, the girl presented herself as Ava, a city east of Demacia. Yuri figured that if he could just leap around Valerian with his power, getting her home and returning to Piltover wouldn't be an issue. When they got near, the city was not there. The towering bastions and accumulated walls of the capital were veiled with a whirling black shadow. They attempted to enter the city, but the walls moved away from them as they tried to reach them. Yuri snapped and ran away without saying a word, leaving Ava behind. It took her 2 days to find him, sitting in a log beside a fire, a spiked black silhouette in the horizon. She sat down beside him, mirroring his face of utter defeat, and remained in silence. Neither could tell how much time has passed, but the silence was shattered by a distant plea from within the woods. They followed to find a toppled caravan that lost their way to Piltover. Once aided, they stood still as the dark mist that was the city engulfed the party, but nowhere to go. They returned to the woods. Now their skin became cyan, their hair white, and their eyes looked like orbs of true ice. Okay. So basically the four of them became whatever engulfed them. And now they just try to help people out. Okay. So a few different things just from the lore here. Starts off really strong, giving some backstory to Yuri's. Then in the middle, it just kind of gets lost. It doesn't really give me any, detection of why he was given these powers. Looks up at the start, so this has to do with, the celestial stuff. Leona, Pantheon, Aurelian Soul, Tarek, Zoe, those kind of things. But it doesn't really explain how he gets it. So he just gets the ability to jump really far. And then he finds this young girl, finds out what town she's from, and then this town is being swirled with I'm assuming a dark entity. And we don't really get to understand what the dark entity is, but then it swallows the team, and then they just become like these blue-skinned, white-haired people. I like it. This girl here is from the Freljord. This boy here is from Shrima. So you have Piltover, Demacia, the Freljord, and Shrima kind of represented in one character, which is really cool. But doesn't give me any more just detail as to why I should care about these two. And not enough about Ava, I feel like. I like the idea though. I just think we could use... I know you said this is a short version, so, as somebody who writes the lore, I completely understand, it being a short version. Just give me... I would like to see just some more story, if you have any more on this stuff. Because I think that would help my, opinion on this. But I'm going to give it a 7. I think has good detail. So it represents a lot, which I like. represents a lot of different areas of Valorant. I think the issue is I would just like to read more. You know, give me some more backstory to go into. That way I can just, it's more just for my own selfish reasons. I would just like to know more. You know, I think there's a lot of questions left with this. So just giving me some more to read, maybe just some bigger details of what is this darkness? Why is it engulfing Ava's city? What else? What is the reason that Yuri's has this power? Those type of things. So let's get here into the abilities. We have passive is Explorers. The aspect of Winters gains 5 bonus XP from all sources. Unique takedowns of champions and epic monsters increase the bonus by 2, while unique takedowns of sigil monsters increase it by 5. Dragon and Baron, I'm assuming. Max is 29%. So you gain 29% extra bonus XP. Okay. Q, safe path. Create a path in a straight line that knocks enemies aside, lasting 1.5 to 3.5 seconds. Enemies cannot walk over this path, but can jump and dash. Allies who walk over this path gain 20 to 40% bonus movement speed, become untargetable, and take 60 to 80% reduced damage, but also disarmed and silenced. So, allies can basically not die when they're standing on top of this, but they also can't do anything. Okay. Okay. W, Hearthfire. Yuri's basic attacks apply a burn effect, dealing 5 to 25 magic damage per second and revealing targets affected. Active places bonfire in the target area that lasts 5 to 13 seconds and shines in a 500 unit radius. Whenever an allied champion walks into the AoE, the duration extended by 2 seconds. This can also happen once per champion. The max duration is 20 seconds. Allies in the area heal by 5 to 25 plus 1% max mana per second, and their basic attacks steal 10% of their target's movement speed. Okay, that's unique. This buff remains for 1.5 seconds after leaving the AoE. Aspect of Winter gains half the HP regen, but also regens 1 to 3 mana per second. Enemies standing in the area have their heals and shields reduced by 5 to 25%. Alright. E is Tripwire. First active, attach a wire to a wall. Second, you attach it to places for 4 seconds. Maximum length is 550 to 750. Enemies who walk over the wire take a ton of damage. Grounded for 1 second, slowed to 50 to 75 seconds, or 55 to 75% of over 3 seconds. It has an on-target CDR of 5 seconds. The wire lasts for 15 to 9 plus 1% of mana, max mana. R, this ability is available at level 1. Call Ava into the field after a short animation. Ava is controlled with all turn. Okay, so it's like a pet. Eva has a leash range with Yuri's of 1,000 to 2,500 units. Killing Ava grants 50 gold and puts the ability on cooldown when Yuri's dies. Ava can remain for 5 seconds and has 20% increased movement speed when moving towards enemy champions. Ava is a melee fighter with 140 range, 50 to 200 plus 15% max mana as armor and magic resist, 360 move speed. Okay. And it cannot be modified in any way. Oh, her attack speed cannot be modified in any way. Ava can cast abilities from her location, but the mana cost is increased by 50 points. If the ranges overlap, Yuri has priority. From level 6 onward, Ava wields... Okay. A frost enchanted saber that marks targets on auto attacks for 4 seconds, stacking up to 7 times. When reaching 7 stacks, minions and large monsters are executed. Sigil and epic monsters take 50 to 65% of their current health as true damage. And champions are applied a stack slow of 5% and silent for 2 seconds once the cap is hit. Alright. So, there is a lot of uniqueness in this kit. And I'm going to give it a 9 because of that. Definitely some things we've never seen before. Having a level 1 pet is awesome, I feel. Just having some unique play, So like you can walk, basically you can run Ava through the jungle to basically scout. You can just scout level 1, just send her out there because she dies. She's only worth 50 gold. And she's able to kind of walk around and she can scout literally everywhere. You can be mid lane, have her go top lane. You can have her mid lane and go. So like, you can have her no, not top lane, but you can have her go. Red buff, top red buff. You can have her go into the bot side. Look for river presence. So there's a lot of little things you can do. Then you can cast abilities from her. So like, let's say you're bot lane. And you run Ava through the tri-brush, you run her behind the enemy bot lane, use her Q, which would cause a wall that they can't walk over unless they have a dash or a jump, and then they don't have either one of those, they have to flash. That's my computer. And that's really strong. So just a lot of things that we have not seen before. The siphoning movement speed from her W here is very cool. And then you have a lot of scaling with max mana, which is cool because we don't really see that outside of like Rise. So I like that. So from a unique standpoint, it is a phenomenal champion. From a viability standpoint, it's kind of the opposite. So you don't have any abilities that do actual damage. So like this is a setup. This is a defensive trap that does damage. This is a buff. You're getting basic attack damage, but you're not actually doing any damage. And then your Q doesn't do any damage. So you're not really poke heavy. So as a disruptor enchanter, why would they pick you this champion over Soraka, over Zillion, over Sona, even Taric? Like, there's no, or Karma, there's no real reason to pick this champion, because if you pick this support, you have to basically play against immobile champions who can't poke you down. So you have to play against like Vayne Nautilus, Vayne Leona, Jinx, Blitzcrank, things like that. And even that's pretty difficult because you don't have poke damage. So you can't actually help your AD carry deal damage in lane. The only thing you can do is throw down this and use this to block off escape routes. Like, there's not much else that this champion can do when it comes to a viability standpoint. So we're gonna give it I think there is some outplay potential, especially at early levels. And the fact that this champion has built-in bonus XP is nice, because you're going to need the levels to do anything, because you don't do any damage. So I'm going to give it a 3. So I think I don't think there's any real damage in this kit. Which is always a problem in a champion who is a support. Supports are supposed to deal damage or have a lot of utility, and she has a lot of utility, but there's no consistent form of damage. Now you have Ava, who is a melee pet. I don't know about keeping her in lane, because since you don't have any gap closing abilities, I don't really count your Q too much as a gap closing ability. You can just have Ava walk in and try to fight, but if the AD carries, if they're smart, they'll just focus her down, get her out of the way. That way she can go on cooldown. Now, I can see how the Q could be effective. You can throw the Q down and, like stand in it, and then have Ava stand out of it and just poke, or, just fight. But later on, I don't think it'd be too useful. Now, that being said, later on in the game, she would have some playmaking potential, because she's really not focused on doing damage. She's just focused on, just being a nuisance, being a disruptor. But there's no damage involved, so it's really just about like blowing flashes. Fun. I think this champion would be fun. I think it has some fun aspects to it. I don't think it's incredibly fun because there's no damage. But just from like a cheese standpoint, I think it'd be pretty fun. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It has lots of early cheese. So, lots of early game cheese. Whoops. Lots of early game cheese, which I think could make this champion really fun. Kind of like how Bard, you know, can take Portal level 1, which most Bards don't. But you can, like, you know, invade certain ways in the jungle, which makes it very, very difficult to counter and to ward for. Or like Blitzcrank, you know, Blitz, you can go over to the enemy buff if you have it warded and just, you know, pull the buff out of the way. That way it has to reset. Just like some cool little quirky cheese abilities, which is cool. But again, not enough damage, so you're going to be playing this into a lot of matchups, and you're just going to get demolished because you're not going to be able to do anything. So, on that aspect, you know, I think it could be a little bit rough. So with that, if you count all this stuff up here, we're at a total of 25. So that is the first of this new type of discussion video. Hopefully you guys like this this concept a little bit better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you guys want to see your champion reviewed on here, let me know. Send me a comment with a link to your champion concept. I would be more than happy to put it up here, give it some shine, as well as just giving my opinion on it. Hopefully, if you guys go check out some of Fallen Demon's other champion concepts, they are really, really good. Please go upvote it, go check it out, and let him know what you guys think as well. So until man, I'm really bad at ending these videos, but until next time, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.